Hello, my name is Scott Norton and I am with the Illinois State Board of Education and we're in the Data Systems Division. What I'm going to show you today is how to use IWAS, and IWAS stands for ISBE Web Application Security. First, I would like to show you where IWAS is located on our home page, and we'll click there to get into that. Down here in the lower left-hand corner in the main menu section of the Illinois State Board of Education webpage is IWAS. You click on that and it will take you to a place to where if you already have an IWAS account, you can get in and log into this portion here. If you're somebody who has not signed up yet to be an IWAS user, you can actually sign up now. One of the things that we will discuss today is actually how to do that, how to actually sign up to use the system in IWAS. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a test version at this point, where we basically see the same screen, and anytime you click on the IWAS link, this is exactly what you will see. Over here on the left hand side we see ISBE Home. That could take you back to the ISBE home page. This is the home, there's a home page here, and also there's a link here for signing up now, which you can also click on over here. Contact us if you need to contact our call center. You can click on that link, and then there's some additional help over here. Anyone who would like to get additional information on how to use IWAS, you can click on this link down here in the bottom left-hand corner, which says IWAS User Guide, and it will bring up a PDF document, an Adobe document that you can read. I believe it's a 12-page document that will guide you through how to use the system. Let's first start by going in as a new user. So this is for those of you who do not have an account yet and desire to get one. The first thing you would do is click on this link called Sign Up Now. And in there's just a few pieces of information that is important to enter into the system. Enter in your first name. I will enter in Mitch here, and a last name. And then you can go ahead and pick a login name and password, and you could choose whatever one you would like to use at this point. And go ahead and enter a password, and you have to verify it by entering it again. And then it's asking you for an email address. One of the things I need to point out on this page is all of these fields have a white arrow with a red background, and that means it's required. So every single piece of information on the screen is required for you to create an IWAS account. And I'm just going to enter in I need a @ sign here. Enter in a false email address at this point just for demonstration purposes. And one of the reasons we ask for your email address is one of the unique things about the IWAS system is not only do we have an internal inbox for your own purposes within IWAS, but there are some certain points where you might want notification outside of the system, and therefore we ask you for your email address. Now, a secret question and answer. The reason we ask for this particular piece of information is so that you can retrieve your password on your own if you actually forget it. Or you can also retrieve your login name, and what it will do is it will actually return, if you can answer your secret question with the correct answer, it will return back to your email address what exactly your piece of information is that you're looking for. And you can do that by this link over here that says Get Password. Now, if you're wondering what kind of things to put in here for a secret question, there's some question marks off to the right-hand side, and you can click on those at any time. And it will bring up some help that is specific to the field in which you're interested in. So for example, we have secret question and answer, and it gives some examples of what some good secret questions might be. For example, what's my father's middle name? What's my high school mascot? What was the make of my first car or bike? In this case, I think we're just going to go ahead and use that. I'll use what is my father's middle name, and I will just make one up here. Now, when you put in your answer, it's really important that you pay attention to the case. For example, I have a capital R and small letters here for Robert. It will require that it is case sensitive, and it will require that you have the case correct when you're trying to answer your secret question. Once you have all the information filled out, all you really need to do is click on the Continue button, and it will bring you to a page As you can see, it says, "Congratulations, Mitch Hopper, on signing up for your personal IWAS account." Now, what you've done at this point is you've successfully created an IWAS account. At this point in time, you have access to absolutely nothing. And what I mean by that is you can get to the help and things like that, but the actual resources that are available through IWAS are not at your disposal at this time. You need to get approval from your local IWAS administrator in order to do that. I will take you through those steps. At this point, we can click on Continue, and when I click on Continue, what we will see is a list of all of the systems or resources that you have available to you to use at the Illinois State Board of Education. And as you can see, there are things in here like general state aid and driver's ed and expenditure reports for reporting your electronic expenditures. There are many, many systems in here. There's over 30 different systems that are available through IWAS right now. And as we go on through the years, one of the things we're finding out is that we're migrating from paper-based systems to electronic-based systems. And all of the systems so far are going through IWAS. And that's where you actually go ahead and make a request for those resources. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to show you one of the things you might have noticed is there's a lot of different systems in here, and one of the things we've realized is that you might want to try to make some sense out of this in terms of categories. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this upper list, the header, where it says categories, click to expand or collapse the tree, and you can see that we break it down into general categories. In this case, we have reporting. If you break that open, it's broken up into general reporting systems like the school facility inventory system, electronic expenditure reports. This is the driver's ed for public schools, where you can actually go ahead and enter in what used to be the blue slip information. We also have it broken up into subcategories. As you see here, we have quarterly, and then we also have annual. Now in this case, you can easily get to whatever system you're looking for. The system that we're going to sign up for today or make a request to use will be under the grants category. And please keep in mind that the systems that you will see here are only available to us in our test environment. In the production version of IWAS, you will see generally one grant for this particular year, for year 2005. And it will say something along the lines of Consolidated NCLB application. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to get into this particular system called NCLB Stream Test QA External. And the process you need to go through in order to make a request to use a system is to basically click on Sign Up Now. Now, if you need more information about the system to make sure whether or not you actually do want to sign up for the system, you can click on this information button here, and you will get a pop-up screen that describes the system in a little more detail. Let's go ahead and click on Sign Up Now. Now, there's a couple things on the screen that I'd like to explain to you. At the top, you see where it says My Profile for all systems. Once you have an IWAS account, you have a profile that belongs to you. It contains things like your first name, your middle name, your last name, which district you're affiliated with. At the Illinois State Board of Education, we use the RCDT code that stands for Region, County, District Type. We also ask for your email address, and this particular entry here where it says Broadcast Email, you can click on the drop-down box. One of the options that is displayed here is it says, yes, send system messages to the above email address. You can also choose no, do not send system messages to my external email account. This is a way, like I said before, you have an inbox within IWAS where if anything happens to a document that you're working on, or if somebody approves something that you're working on, you will get a notification to your IWAS inbox. This broadcast email feature also gives you a reminder outside of IWAS. So for example, if you wanted to put your school's email address here, where you actually have an account at your school or your district, you can set that as yes here, and then you will get the reminders outside of the system when something happens or when something requires your approval. Let's go ahead and pick which district we're affiliated with. There's a nice little link here called Find District, and if you click on it, in the upper left-hand corner will come a box that shows you all of the information you need to know to select which district you're affiliated with. The first step in this is to select a region. And all of the regions that are throughout the state of Illinois show up here. So if you're in Will County, you'd pick Will ROE. In this case, we're going to go ahead and pick Adams Pike ROE for the purposes of this demonstration. Once you pick your region, the next thing to do is to select which category you're going to be looking at for the districts. Now we've got several different categories here at the State Board that we deal with on a customer basis. One of the categories is regional office, so if you're with an ROE or you're representing an ROE, regional office, you can actually select that. Generally, most of them that people choose are the public district because you're affiliated with a public school district. We also have non-public schools in here, and miscellaneous payees would be anything that doesn't appear in the list above. So those would be entities that are not a public school and they're also not a non-public school. And you could look in there. Let me show you an example of a miscellaneous payee. We might have the Boy Scouts of America in here, child care centers, child and adult care centers, churches, things like that. So that's what's under the miscellaneous payee category. We also have special ed co-ops and area vocational centers. So for the purposes of this discussion, what we're going to select today is public district. Once I select the category, it will then show me in this drop-down box a list of all the available school districts within the Adams Pike ROE. And for our purposes today, we're going to choose Payson Community School District. And once you have that chosen, all you have to do is click Insert RCDT Code, and you will see in this area right here that it will populate that field. And here's the Region County District Type Code that we selected from the list. Now, if you would like, if you know your Region County District Code, you can actually type it in here and it will validate whether or not that's a correct one. Like I said earlier, this is your profile for all systems. Once you pick which district you're affiliated with, it will never have to ask you again what your Region County District Type Code is. Let's move on to the bottom of the screen. I'm going to scroll up a little bit, or scroll down. And there's a section down here that speaks to what level of access you would like to get to use this particular system. In this case, we're going to go into the NCLB Consolidated Grant. In this case, one thing you may want to do is actually click on the help here to show you what access levels are available. And a screen will pop up that shows you all of the different type of access that we have for the NCLB Consolidated Grant. And I wanted to pause here a little bit just to discuss those because these are the actual ones that are available for the NCLB Consolidated Grant. The first level of access is district view only. And as you can see, there's a description over here. It says the person has view-only access to the consolidated NCLB application. This might be one particular approval group or level of access that a district superintendent might slot one of their auditors into, where they don't want them changing the information in the grant, but they want them to look at the information. By far the most common approval group that your district superintendent will put you in for the NCLB consolidated application is the district entry approval group. And in this case, this is where the staff can get in and actually enter in all the information for the NCLB consolidated application for the Titles 1, Title 2A, Title 2D, Title 4, and Title 5. Anybody slotted into this particular approval group can actually enter in all the information for those grants. There's an optional group here called Business Manager. And the Business Manager would be somebody like your Chief Financial Officer in your district. If somebody were to be slotted into this group at a district level, there's a workflow of how the actual system, how the document flows through the system. So for example, if somebody in this approval group called District Entry filled out all the grants and the superintendent ultimately approved it, let's back up a little bit. Let's say that they filled out all the grants and they went ahead and submitted for the next level of approval. If there's somebody slotted into this Business Manager group, the document will stop into their inbox, and they'll have to look at it and physically, electronically sign it or approve it before it gets to the district superintendent. So if somebody's slotted into this approval group within IWAS, and that's totally up to the district superintendent, then it will be an intermediate stop between the author of the document, in this case the NCLB Consolidated Grant, and the district superintendent. Now the district superintendent is slotted into this area here, which is district administrator, and they have full authority to agree to the assurances of the grant and also to submit the grant to ISBE. Those are the only 4 approval groups that are available to you as a district level person. We also at ISBE have approval groups where we have programmatic approval to review the grants, and also fiscal approval where they look at things like your budget and your payment schedule and your allocations. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And again, that is just to give you more information. If you wanted a higher level of access, you could type it in here and you can request that higher level of access. You can just let your superintendent decide what level of access to put you in without entering anything in here. But this is really all that's required to sign up for a system. And as you noticed, all we really did was put in the Region County District Type Code. I'm going to go ahead and submit this request to use the system. And what we get at this point is a confirmation screen. It says, congratulations on signing up for the NCLB. In your case, it'll say Consolidated Grant. And then from this page, you can now choose to go to the System Listing page, which is over here in the menu, System Listing, and you can sign up for more systems, or you can just concentrate on this particular one. I'm going to go ahead and click on System Listing. Now, one thing you might have noticed, up here at the top it says My Systems. And this is generally what you will see when you click on System Listing. The more systems you sign up for and the more systems you have access to, the more you will see in this particular screen. Now, if you currently have an IWAS account, I'll show you a little bit later on how to, on how to get in access to the system. So for example, let me just show you now. Let's go in, let's say we want to sign up for another system. You can click on this link at the very bottom that says want to sign up for other systems. And then it will show you that complete list again of all the systems that you do not have access for. And you could follow that same process again. Let's go ahead back into System Listing. And one of the things that I think it would be prudent to talk about at this point is the 2 different types of users that we have in IWAS. As we signed up here, we're signing up for what we call a non-administrative user. It's just a general user within IWAS, and they have to request access to use systems from people who are administrators in their particular organization. So for example, an administrator might be a district superintendent or a regional superintendent or a non-public school administrator. Those people actually got letters from the Illinois State Board of Education that gave them access to their administrative accounts. Now, what they're responsible for within IWAS is 2 things. The first thing is they authorize other people within their organization to use systems within IWAS. The second thing they do is they approve or electronically sign documents as they flow from people who are filling out those documents to the State Board of Education. So there's 2 roles for an administrator. Now, one of the things you'll notice here on this screen is there's a heading here called Authorization. And one thing you might notice is under pending, it says Pending District. And if you hover over the field, it says Pending District Approval. So we can't get into the system yet until somebody at the district authorizes us to use the system. If you require more information about who is looking at your request to use the system, you can click on this More Information button, and it will bring up a screen that will show you that you are waiting for someone to authorize you to use this particular system. Please contact the following individual to grant you access to the system, and then it will give you the administrator's name. Usually this is the district superintendent for public schools. And it will also give you their phone number. So if you really want to rush things along, you can actually go ahead and call to get access to this system. What I'm going to do at this point, since I do not have access as a general IWAS user, we're going to log out of the system and log back in as the district superintendent or as the administrator responsible for approving this person to use the system. I am now going to log in as the district superintendent. And this section here is for people who already have accounts. Earlier on, we went on to the Sign Up Now, which is on the right-hand side of the screen. All you have to do to log in is put your login name and password, click Login, and you will get into the IWAS system at the home page. Like I mentioned earlier, one thing you'll want to notice here immediately is anybody who has an administrative account within IWAS will say District RCDT Administrator. Now the one exception to this at the top of the screen, it might say ROE or Regional Superintendent Administrator. One thing you want to notice here is it says who you are. Hello, you last logged in at this date and time, just so you can check and make sure that nobody else was in your account. We also have an area here for messages. This is where I was talking about earlier, where anything that happens to documents that you put into the system, to approvals that occur on the document. For example, if you enter in the NCLB consolidated application, you submit it to your district superintendent for approval. Once your district superintendent approves that document, you will get a message in your inbox right here, and it will tell you that the district superintendent actually approved your NCLB consolidated application. That occurs for all the documents, all of the systems within IWAS. You have the ability to archive your messages. You can always go look at your archive. Down here where it says Require Action, this is a special section just for administrators within IWAS. Like I said, there's two things they can do. One, they can actually authorize people to use systems, and the second thing they can do is actually approve documents, and another word for that is electronic signature. In this case, we can see that there's one signed up pending my approval. I'm logged on as the administrator, the district administrator. And as the district administrator, there might be more than one person within a given system trying to get access to represent my school district through this system. So we show them a system list here. And in this case, it says NCLB stream test, external, and there's one person who requires or is requesting access or authorization. I'll click on that, and as we can see, this is the new account that we just created. Mitch Hopper is awaiting my particular approval or authorization in order to get into the NCLB Consolidated Grant. At that point, the superintendent would click on the name, and now at his or her disposal is all of the information, all of the profile information for this individual. And down here, I'm going to scroll down and show you this is where the district superintendent would decide what level of access you are to get for this system. And this is, if you had typed in on your screen when you went to sign up for the system, any justification, it would show up here. Now, in this case, what we're going to do today is we're going to approve Mitch to have district entry access, which gives Mitch the ability to enter in all of the different grants in the NCLB Consolidated Grant. And all the superintendent really needs to do here is either approve or disapprove. Let's go ahead and click on the Approve button. And now we can see that our task is done as the RCDT or District Superintendent Administrator. And what has happened behind the scenes is an email was sent to Mitch saying what happened. Let's go ahead and log out of the superintendent's account, and we'll log back in as Mitch. Except this time, we're going to log in on the left-hand side of the screen because we already have an IWAS account. So I'm going to type in M. Hopper and put in my password and click Login. Now this is what we consider the home page. And you'll notice those two special things for the district administrator don't show up here. I don't have that authority or that ability to do that as a general IWAS user. Now, the first thing you might want to notice is that there is one unread message. And if we click on that, you see that there's a message here from a particular system, and I click on that even further to drill down, and it says subject, application has been approved. It says you've been approved to use the system. To begin using it, click on system listing and follow the instructions. And then it's signed by your district superintendent. So this is an automated system message that you will receive, and it's a lot like a lot of the other system messages that you will receive as you're getting your documents approved through the system. I'm going to go ahead and archive on that and click on system listing, because now I have access to get into the NCLB consolidated application. And as you can see, I am now authorized. I can either click there or I can click on the system itself. Let's go ahead and see what it's like to get into a system through IWAS. We now have access. And what it does is it opens up a second window which houses the application that you're trying to get into. And in this case, this is the e-grant system. This is just a test version at this time. But I do want to point out that those of you who are going to use the NCLB consolidated application through IWAS for the 2005 year, this is exactly what your screen will look like when you log in and get into the e-grant system or the NCLB consolidated grant. The only exception will be that the year will say 2005 instead of 2004. And the first thing you need to do is basically create your application. So just click on this button to say create application, and what it will do is it will bring up a blank application for you to fill out the Title I, 2A, 2D, 4, and 5 grants.